time in 17 years of effort, a specific step has been taken to limit the nuclear arms race. I refer, of course, to the treaty to ban nuclear tests in the atmosphere, outer space, and underwater, concluded by the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and already signed by nearly 100 countries. It has been hailed by people the world over who are thankful to be free from the fears of nuclear fallout. And I am confident that on next Tuesday at 10:30 o'clock in the morning, it will receive the overwhelming endorsement of the Senate of the United States. The world has not escaped from the darkness. The long shadows of conflict and crisis envelop us still. But we meet today in an atmosphere of rising hope and at a moment of comparative calm. My presence here today is not a sign of crisis, but of confidence. I am not here to report on a new threat to the peace or new signs of war. I have come to salute the United Nations and to show the support of the American people and the United States as a major nuclear power does have a special responsibility to the world. It is, in fact, a threefold responsibility. A responsibility to our own citizens, a responsibility to the people of the whole world who are affected by our decisions, and to the next generation of humanity. We believe the Soviet Union also has these special responsibilities, and that those responsibilities require our two nations to concentrate less on our differences and more on the means of resolving them peacefully. For too long, both of us have increased our military budgets, our nuclear stockpiles, and our capacity to destroy all life on this hemisphere, human, animal, vegetable, without any corresponding increase in our security. Our conflicts, to be sure, are real. Our concepts of the world are different. No service is performed by failing to make clear our disagreements. A central difference is the belief of the American people in self-determination for all people. We believe that the people of Germany and Berlin must be free to reunite their capital and their country. We believe that the people of Cuba must be free to secure the fruits of the revolution that have been betrayed from within and supported from without. But I would say to the leaders of the Soviet Union and to their people that if either of our countries is to be fully secure, we need a much better weapon than the H-bomb, a weapon better than ballistic missiles or nuclear submarines, and that better weapon is peaceful cooperation. We have in recent years agreed on a limited test ban treaty, on an emergency communications link between our capitals, on a statement of principles for disarmament, on an increase in cultural exchange, on cooperation in outer space, on the peaceful exploration of the Antarctic, and on tempering last year's crisis over Cuba. I believe, therefore, that the Soviet Union and the United States, together with their allies, can achieve further agreements, agreements which spring from our mutual interest in avoiding mutual destruction. There can be no doubt about the agenda of further steps. We must continue to seek agreements on measures which prevent war by accident or miscalculation. We must continue to seek agreement on safeguards against surprise attack, including observation posts at key points. We must continue to seek agreement on further measures to curb the nuclear arms race by controlling the transfer of nuclear weapons, converting fissionable materials to peaceful purposes, and banning underground testing with adequate inspection and enforcement. We must continue to seek agreement on a freer flow of information and people from east to west and west to east. We must continue to seek agreement, encouraged by yesterday's affirmative response to this proposal by the Soviet foreign minister on an arrangement to keep weapons of mass destruction out of outer space. Let us get our negotiators back to the negotiating table. To control his own environment, to end thirst and hunger, to conquer poverty and disease, to banish illiteracy and massive human misery. We have the power to make this the best generation of mankind in the history of the world. To make it lost. And new means should be found for promoting the free expression and trade of ideas through travel and communication and through increased exchanges of people and books and broadcasts. For as the world renounces the competition of weapons, competition in ideas must flourish. And that competition must be as full and as fair as possible. The United States delegation will be prepared to suggest to the United Nations initiatives in the pursuit of all these goals. For this is an organization for peace, and peace cannot come without work and without progress. The peacekeeping record of the United Nations has been a proud one, though its tasks are always formidable. We are fortunate to have the skills of our distinguished Secretary General and the brave efforts of those who have been serving the cause of peace in the Congo and the Middle East, in Korea and Kashmir, in West New Guinea and Malaysia. My fellow inhabitants of this planet, let us take our stand here in this assembly of nations, and let us see that if we, in our own time, can move the world to a just and lasting peace,
Would you want a Gaddafi or an Arafat or a Castro to be a future president of South Africa?
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. We have our own struggle, which we are conducting. We are grateful to the world for supporting our struggle. But nevertheless, we are an independent organization with its own policy. And the attitude of every country towards, our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. There is no reason whatsoever why we should have any hesitation about hailing their commitment to human rights as they are being demanded in South Africa. Our attitude is based solely on the fact that they fully support the anti-apartheid struggle. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle. Because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination. That we carefully define what we mean by secure borders. We do not mean that Israel has the right to retain the territories they conquered from the Arab world, like the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the West Bank. We don't agree with that. Those territories should be returned to the Arab people.
Mr. Mandela.
We are not prepared to be swayed by anybody. We have an independent policy which we assert no matter with whom we discuss. The Jewish leader have any doubts about our stand, I am prepared to address them and to allay their concern, because they are a very important community both in South Africa and of course in the States. And I'm prepared to iron out any differences that might exist. But they must know what our stand is. Arafat is a comrade in arms, and we treat him as such. And as I have said, we have many Jews, members of the Jewish community in our struggle, and they have occupied very top positions. But that does not mean to say that the enemies of Israel are our enemies. We refuse to take that position. You can call it being political or a moral question, but for anybody who changes his principles depending on whom he is dealing, that is not a man who can lead a nation.
That we have here in the U.S. is pretty clear. In the United States, you get to say as an American citizen what you believe, period. And under no circumstances ever may the government infringe on that right, period. Again, that's the First Amendment.
This morning, a federal judge in Louisiana is limiting the Biden administration from contacting social media companies, the judge saying the administration likely violated the First Amendment when it pressured those companies to remove certain posts. The order comes as Republican attorneys general in 2 states sue the administration, claiming it pressured sites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to remove messages containing purported misinformation about COVID-19, election security, and other issues.
What's your message to platforms like Facebook?
They're killing people. I mean, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. And they're killing people.
Saying American citizens have the right to engage in free debate about significant issues affecting the country. The judge adding, it is quite telling that each example or category of suppressed speech was conservative in nature. The judge also issued a preliminary injunction barring top administration officials and several federal agencies, including the Justice Department, from having any contact with social media platforms for the purpose of encouraging the removal, deletion, suppression, or reduction of content containing protected free speech. The decision appears to take effect immediately.
And thanks to the Twitter files revealed on Friday night, we know the First Amendment has been violated more profoundly than at any time in our lives. Miranda Devine of the New York Post has just reported the FBI met, quote, weekly with Twitter executives in the months before the 2020 election. And in those meetings, the FBI specifically warned about hack and leak operations by state actors that would involve Hunter Biden and would, quote, likely come out in October.
Elon Musk retweeted the quote-unquote Twitter files, a collection of documents that detail how the social media platform supposedly buried a story about a Ukrainian energy company paying money to the president's son, Hunter Biden. First of all, I just have to say that this whole thing is just ridiculous and it's not true.
It was amazing to me that all of these sort of Fox News or whoever else jumped on this without ever fully understanding that it was basically meaningless what happened. And it actually turned out to be a good thing.
Musk seems fixated on a 2-year-old story about Hunter Biden's laptop.
This is what we in the cable business like to call a hot take. And it reveals Elon Musk's profound ignorance of the First Amendment.
We now know it was a really helpful thing, actually, the Twitter files today, because we got to see how content moderation works. We got to see how when a group of people with differing political ideas and ideologies and views gets together in the spirit of making a platform safe and healthy.
There's just so much there. Al Sharpton teaming up with the former George W. Bush aide to tell you censorship is good. The First Lady saying, this Ukrainian company allegedly paid Hunter Biden when there's no allegedly about it. Everyone involved has already admitted it. And then best of all, Ali Velshi, we in the cable business. Ali Velshi has never been in the news business. People in the news business cover the news. Propagandists censor and distort the news. And that's what you're watching there.
There's a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team. It was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was, we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
So this is a Stop the Presses story. The FBI is the largest and most powerful domestic law enforcement agency in the world. It can't become a secret police force. If it does, this is no longer a free country, and it's no better than, say, Russia under Putin. Do the people in charge always wind up richer than they were before they took office? Do they live in sprawling compounds surrounded by armed guards? Does the average senator, for example, live in the same zip code as the people who vote for him? Places like Scranton, Pennsylvania? If not, you've got corruption. During his 5 decades as a public servant, Joe Biden and his family became rich, and they enriched themselves at the country they supposedly served. How did they do that? I would say most Americans at this point would trade a little bit of corruption, they would tolerate a little bit of corruption for some competence and stability.
Just enough bullshit to hold things together in this country. Bullshit is the glue that binds us as a nation. Where would we be without our safe, familiar American bullshit? Land of the free, home of the brave, the American dream. All men are equal, justice is blind, the press is free, your vote counts. Business is honest, the good guys win. The police are on your side. God is watching you. Your standard of living will never decline. And everything is gonna be just fine. The official national bullshit story. I call it the American okey doke. Every one of those items is provably untrue at one level or another, but we believe them because they're pounded into our heads from the time we're children. That's what they do with that kind of stuff. They put it in the heads of kids. They pound it in there because kids, they know kids are too young to be able to mount a sophisticated argument against these kind of ideas. And so kids, and up to a certain age, by the way, kids are going to believe everything a grown-up tells them, everything. So kids never learn to question things. Nobody questions things in this country anymore. Nobody questions things. Why? People are too fat and happy. People are way too fucking prosperous for their own good. Everyone's got a cell phone that'll make pancakes and rub their balls now, you know? So nobody wants to rock the boat. And people just gizmo. Americans have been silenced bought off and silenced by gizmos and toys. And as a result, no one's ever learned to question things. No one questions things in this country anymore. No one questions things. Now, complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here. Like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Fuck hope. Fuck hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around. I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who in fact did not even leave the house on election day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with. So I know that a little later on this year you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately. As for me, I'll be home on that day doing essentially the same thing as you. The only difference is when I get finished masturbating, I'm going to have a little something to show for it, folks. Thank you very much.
There's a fast food worker and says she barely makes enough to scrape by.
A lot of my money that I make goes back into my rent.
In a new survey from CareerBuilder.com, 78% of workers say they are living paycheck to make ends meet, up from 75% last year. 1 in 10 people earning more than $100,000 a year say they're waiting for payday to pay the bills.
All right, here's a question. When it comes to money, are you feeling comfortable? Turns out a lot of people say no, not with today's inflated prices.
Freeze to cars to you name it. Stuff just costs more. And that has a whopping 72% of people feeling financially insecure, according to a Bankrate survey. So how big of a paycheck is it going to take?
Americans say that they'd want to earn about $233,000 a year just to feel comfortable. And I think it really all does go back to that, this high inflation era that we're living in.
$233,000. That's a lot. considering the median U.S. household brings in about $70,000. They also found women feel less secure than men, and Gen Xers, people in their 40s and 50s, are feeling the most worried.
Stressed about money than ever before.
87% of Americans said that inflation and the rising costs of everyday goods is what's driving their stress. And that's one of the highest numbers of stress that we have seen in the Stress in America survey.
4 in 10 Americans say that money affects them negatively and the state of their mental health.
Money is a universal stressor, regardless of your financial standing.
Poor mental health not only takes a toll on a person's overall well-being, but it's also bad for the economy. Workers experiencing even one poor mental health day a month could lead to $53 billion less in total income each year in the United States.
Money touches every part of our lives, right? And it's, modern day survival.
I felt hopeless. I was feeling that depression and I didn't really know what to do.
It's affecting some Americans more than others.
Statistics say that 75% of Latinos are stressed about money. One of the biggest anxieties that we face is how are we going to build generational wealth?
So why is money so stressful in the United States? And what can Americans do to alleviate the pressure? With the cost of living skyrocketing, many Americans are experiencing financial stress on a daily basis.
Something that comes up time and time again when we query Americans about their personal finances. Essentially, it is the expenses that surprise them on an ongoing basis, so trying to pay for everyday items, not having emergency savings, and debt. Those 3 issues are at the top of their list of concerns.
More than 80% of Americans ages 18 to 43 said money is a significant source of stress for them.
Certain individuals are struggling more when it comes to concerns about inflation and money.
Between men and women, there were differences in the way they processed it. We had more women tell us that it was negatively affecting their mental health, yet men told us that it affects their mental health more often.
I felt like I was at a low point because for my age and where I wanted to be, where I thought I should be in life, I felt like behind. I didn't have any savings. I was living paycheck to paycheck.
In a lot of ways, money is a safety net or a source of stability. And without it, people feel vulnerable and anxious about the future.
Latino and Black adults were more likely to say that money was a significant stressor more frequently than white and Asian respondents.
Especially coming from my experience as a first gen, my parents didn't know how to navigate this financial system. That's why I even myself entered finance, because I saw the stress my parents faced. So then I could learn and help protect them as well as protect the community and providing them education about finances that are, transparent.
Many Americans don't feel hopeful about their financial future, with 41% saying it's, quote, going to take a miracle to be ready for retirement.
I think the problem in recent years has been that there has been this so-called risk shift, whereas the risk of being responsible for things has been shifted from others onto the individual. What can you put on that list? The cost of obtaining a college education, previously in the public realm, borne by taxpayers. We know where that's been going. The burden of saving for retirement was often more heavily owned by employers when they provided pension benefits. That was shifted to individuals with the changes in 401ks. Healthcare has become increasingly expensive. That's responsible for 1/5 of the American economy, and consumers and employers bear that burden.
Americans say they're feeling pressure to cut back on spending. More than 50% of adults say they've already cut back on dining out and will consider reducing their spending more if inflation continues to rise. More than 75% of adults said they're worried higher prices will force them to rethink their financial choices. Even higher income Americans making at least $100,000 per year say they either have or are considering cutting back on spending.
People need to have a sense of hope. And so, when the economy is working for them, there's a greater likelihood that people will have hope that they can accomplish their basic personal financial objectives.
Americans are making a connection between their financial stress and worsening mental health. 42% of U.S. adults say that money negatively impacts their mental health, with 28% saying they worry about their finances daily.
Many Americans tell us that some of their sources of financial stress are as simple as looking at their bank accounts or making purchases or talking about money.
Thinking about money or your finances, it can feel unavoidable with the approaching summer and travel plans, holidays, gift buying. All of these things are really stressful and can trigger concerns about finances.
Sometimes dealing with stress can worsen someone's financial problems. Mental health issues can have serious consequences for a person's overall well-being.
There is clear evidence that mental illness affects your physical health.
We typically see stress manifest in two ways. One are physical symptoms, so things like teeth grinding, headaches, stomach discomfort, muscle tension. The second is emotional responses, so that can look like anxiety and stress, difficulty sleeping, changes in your eating patterns. And so when those come together and they are unmanaged, that's where we see really negative physical and emotional consequences.
Many people struggle with the shame of their financial difficulties, and it's often a burden that's carried alone in silence. And in turn, people go to great lengths to hide their financial difficulties, which further entrenches them in their isolation. And that isolation and burden can become so great that people facing these difficulties are more likely to experience suicidal thoughts and even make suicide attempts as a way to escape from their problems.
While there are many forces at play that are outside of people's control, such as the rising cost of living, there are steps Americans can take on their own to help themselves feel more financially secure. Experts say the first step is examining your mindset around money.
I was constantly looking for how can I find hope in this situation? Because you can have fear and scarcity, especially nowadays. It's so easy with the economy and inflation. We're bombarded by it every day. I'm like, there's not enough money. There's not enough money. So it keeps us in a scarcity mindset and that fear around money.
I faced financial anxieties myself, and I had all the resources to actually take action on my debt or not even get into debt. But yet, because of my mental health and because of the environment I was in, and because I didn't want to take ownership of my finances, I had to face the realness of my debt.
Important to monitor your physical health.
What is happening to us mentally, it affects us physically also. If you're not treating your depression and anxiety well, you are probably not doing a great job managing blood pressure and diabetes and other chronic conditions.
I always kind of go back to the basics, which is to make sure you're eating healthy, that you're getting enough sleep, that you're staying active, and that you're staying socially connected.
The concept in mental health recovery is that our first step is building hope. We need to see that there's a path to recovery and that things will get better. And they usually do.
Yeah! What's up, y'all? I usually do songs with hooks and concepts and shit, right? But fuck that, man. I'm trying to go platinum. So I'm about to rock this shit. Check this out, y'all. Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book. Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book. Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book. Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book. R-E-A-D-A-B-O-O-K. 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 Not a sports page, not a magazine. Dom DeMarco.
Mic check, mic check. Can you guys hear me? Bet you guys can hear me. I'm sure you guys can hear me well. Let me know if you guys cannot hear me, alright? Let me know in the chat. I'm sure you guys can hear me well. I can hear. If I can hear myself, I guarantee you guys can hear me. What? Some of you guys saying you can't see me? How about now? That's what y'all want, right? Bet. But welcome back to, you already know, Positively Honest Podcast. If you haven't been here before, you know what I'm saying, it'd be great if you hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Or hit the like button, hit the like, comment. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, I would love to get more subscribers because they be sleeping on me. I ain't gonna lie with y'all. You feel me? Like they be, I think I'm shadow banned because I really keep it like all the way 1,000, and they don't like people like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't really like people that keep it 1,000. They just want you to just, you know what I'm saying? Just talk some bullshit and be in the matrix.
We in the matrix, my nigga. We in the matrix. We in the matrix, my nigga. In the matrix.
But I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I rather get after the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because even my sense can't even give me to just sit back and mislead a lot of you guys. That's what most of these YouTubers do. They just waste these people's time, the time that they will never ever be able to get it back. But I guess it's their fault because they, you know what I'm saying, they just fall for, oh, this guy got so many followers, like, oh, so many subscribers, let me just watch, he must be an expert. What? What the fuck? You funny. But I got a couple of stories that I want to get into. I know it's a late stream. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, I got other life. I got other shit that I do. I wish this was the only thing that I, you know what I'm saying, the only thing that I do. It's not. I don't get paid from this. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Help your boy out. You feel me? Like I said, it is free. It's free. Make sure you hit the like button, man. Or subscribe. But what I want to talk about tonight, a couple stories, like I said, and we're gonna talk about how the U.S. mainstream media used to make fun of China. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 years ago, they used to. I will show you. I have a proof. Over here, you have a CNN. I will show you a clip where it's a whole video. It's actually 1 minute and 18 seconds, but I'm gonna show you about like 18 seconds. And it's just an example to show you how what China do and the United States or the Western used to consider, it's like a science fiction. It's like, it's not a democratic value. It's like a crazy idea, right? It's a drone where, you know what I'm saying, it's a look, the headline says, watch, China use talking drone to warn citizens. We'll watch that. And then, ironically, I wish I was making this shit up, but I'm not. You feel me? I'm not. We'll talk about how in the United States of America, in 2023, we're gonna let the record reflect how in New York, especially NYPD is using drones, and they were on the record used drones for a Labor Day event. And of course, it sparks debate. You know what I'm saying? For those, you know what I'm saying, remaining people that actually fighting for democracy are debating and asking questions about like, what? We'll talk about that. And it's not only happening in New York City or in New York. It's happening all over the United States. You know what I'm saying? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it right here. Okay? And obviously it's known the United States military or the United States government to actually, you know what I'm saying, use drones for overseas hits. You can ask the people in Iraq, you can ask people in Afghanistan, you can ask people in Somalia, you can ask people in Yemen. You know what I'm saying? List goes on and on and on and on. Ask the people in Palestine, man. List goes on and on and on. And now, that was a training. Now it comes home. We'll talk about it. Okay? And then we'll talk about how they really want to control us. Honestly, we'll talk about how. You might be like, what do you mean control us? You might be just paranoid, bro. Okay. People don't lie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people lie, but numbers don't. And I got proof for you guys. And what else? And I got another topic about Bill Gates. Stay tuned, okay? So, before we get into that, let's go ahead and start the show.
And the only thing to kill him is owing. All my life, trying to keep me down. All this time, never thought I'd make it out. No. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, big what I want to know. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see.
Alright. Let's get into the topics. So you better like show us what are you talking about, right? I got you guys. I got you, man. So this was 2020. Take a look at this. Let me put the volume up so you guys can hear what the fuck I'm talking about, okay?
With the virus.
迎面走过来的美女边上的那位帅哥，看到你戴着口罩了啊，把口罩戴戴好，戴戴好。
So what you're seeing there is Chinese officials now using drones equipped with speakers.
帅哥，看到你戴着口罩了啊，把口罩戴戴好，戴戴好。
So what you're seeing there is Chinese officials now using drones equipped with speakers to warn citizens to wear their masks and to take other precautions. More than 250 people have already died from the coronavirus.
puts it.
It's in China.
It's like a scene out of science fiction.
This is...
Remember that part. Do you know what he just said? A scene of a science fiction. That is a... You want to hear that again?
It's like a scene out of science fiction.
This...
He kind of, you know what I'm saying, laughs and like, it's kind of it's a scene of a science fiction. No, bro, it's not. It's reality. And you thought that it only happens in China? Okay. You thought that only happens in China, right? You thought there is a major difference between China and the United States of America, right? Correct. In a perfect world, you know what I'm saying, that answer would be yes. What are you talking about? There's democracy and a dictatorship. But how is it possible they're both using a dictatorship tactics? I thought one was a democracy, one was like whatever the fuck you call it. I've been telling y'all, man. It's just democracy. It's just like it became a word to control people. To be honest with y'all, like, have y'all ever noticed the countries that actually claim they are democratic countries, they actually hold elections, and then they got the audacity to say, "Oh, this, you know what I'm saying? This guy won the election, and he's keep winning for 20 years." Ironically, yeah, and the people be like, nobody, like we're not voting. Nobody's voting for these guys. How are they winning? It's called democracy. It's called election. Okay, I don't know how that happens. Put one on one together. So that was just 2 years ago, and that's about when United States started using, you know what I'm saying, the same tactics China uses. And that's why a lot of people are actually outraged. I'm like, I can't even believe this is happening, okay? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. You guys, you know what I'm saying? Because I cannot believe this.
Police, including the NYPD, using drone Labor Day celebrations, a new layer of security. Police, including the NYPD, using drones to monitor events. But as Emily Aketa tells us, it's also raising concerns about privacy.
As Labor Day celebrations blanket the country, in New York City, there's another layer of police eyes now in the sky. The NYPD is launching drones to respond to priority and non-priority calls around the Caribbean-inspired Juve and West Indian American Day festivities, which in previous years have been marred by shootings.
If a caller states there's a large crowd, large party in the backyards, we're going to be utilizing our assets to go up, to go check on the party.
But what police have called an asset, critics are concerned could become Big Brother.
What we don't want to see is this bleeding out to sort of routine patrols by drones, routine hovering over our homes and over our communities.
On the ground in Brooklyn, opinions are split.
It's a safety precaution. I'm all for safety.
There's really no privacy at all. I think it's taken it to the next level.
New York City has increasingly leaned on drones this year, which have scanned shorelines for sharks and helped size the crowd of a giveaway gone awry last month. The NYPD and Mayor Eric Adams defended drones as more efficient, especially for noise complaints and in crowded streets.
They're gonna utilize drones from a safe distance up, not down, flying in someone's backyard to see what they have on the grill.
According to the ACLU, more than 1,400 police departments now utilize the technology, like in Santa Monica, where drone footage helps convict a brutal attacker. As a growing debate over the advancing tech takes flight. Where drone footage helps convict a brutal attack, utilize the technology, like in Santa Monica, where drone footage helps convict a brutal attacker.
You see how the media, they put in, they try to be slick with this shit. You feel me? You notice? I mean, an average person would not notice the shit that I notice. Obviously, that's clear. You feel me? That's clear. But yeah, just notice how they're gonna act like, oh, they use this to really save. Listen this shit again. Listen this shit again. They're justifying this. Listen it again with your own ears.
Like in Santa Monica, where drone footage helps convict a brutal attacker.
It tells you the drone helped capture this, you know what I'm saying, brutal attack. Oh my God. The drone is savior. Look what it saved. Dude, we already have so many cameras. Have you ever, when was the last time you looked up? While you were, like, last time you were on a red light, have you ever looked up? Have you seen how many cameras? Old angles? State of surveillance. Like, we've been monitored every step. Your phone is monitoring you step by step. Even when you turn your iPhone, it tells you, hey, you don't have to turn it off. This phone is still monitoring you. Like, it knows your location, everything. You don't have to turn it off. It just lets you know. If you don't believe me, look it up. If you got an iPhone, try to turn it off. And right before you turn it off, look at it right there. It tells you right there. Even if you turn it off, your location is still, you know what I'm saying, findable. We've been, you know what I'm saying, but they tell you, oh, democracy, or, you know what I'm saying, like, nobody's gonna, like, this is only for the criminals. And guess what? Only the good guys are using this drones. Only because, and that's all the police are the good guys. All the government is the good guys. They're using the drone not to spy you, but to protect you guys. Okay. And they haven't. I would believe that if, you know what I'm saying, if they proved that in the past, I would actually prove. I would be okay. I would be okay with it. But guess what? The history shows us otherwise. And guess what? So many times history repeats itself. It's outrageous. A lot of people are just okay with this. But hey, I be telling y'all, man, a lot of people are just the walking dead. The government would be like, hey, bend over, doggy style. And they'd be like, okay. They don't even ask no question like, why? Why do I have to bend over? What are you gonna do to me? Is it gonna hurt? Like, there's so many questions that you gotta ask, but you're not gonna ask any questions. What the fuck? You're just gonna bend over for this giant blue and red thing that they champion inside? Bro, y'all need to wake up, man. For real, man. Y'all cannot, because y'all already dead. The way they letting you guys, they want you guys dead, to be honest. The control is outrageous.
As a growing debate over the advancing tech takes flight.
For perspective, NYPD numbers show the department used drones 34 times last year. Well, in just the first half of this year, that use has more than tripled.
Y'all heard it.
There is breaking news tonight on Maui. The governor...
Look at that fucking guy, man. He acts like he is the saint. He acts like he's breaking the best news for America. Like, bro, you should be ashamed of yourself. I swear to God, I don't know how these motherfuckers live with themselves. How do you motherfuckers sleep at night knowing that you're fucking over innocent human beings, dog? You motherfuckers.
New World Order.
It's a special place, bruh. Waiting for y'all, man. I'm telling y'all, bruh. Safe.
Are a response to complaints about large gatherings. You happen to look up while celebrating this holiday weekend, you may notice an unwelcome guest watching from above, a police surveillance drone. The NYPD says it's all part of a plan to keep New Yorkers safe and the parties going. The department says the drones are a response to complaints about large gatherings, and yes, this includes private events. Police say...
Y'all heard it. Private events. How the fuck do y'all become okay with that? Like, private events, they can just fly this shit right on your backyard. Where is those conscious good Americans who stand up for freedom? Where are those all good Americans? Maybe we don't have any anymore. What the fuck? How are... Bro, I cannot believe the amount of people that are just giving up their freedom. They just want to be slaves so bad. They're like, oh my God, I cannot believe
New World Order.
This is not the world that...
drone to survey the crowd before requesting backup if needed. Officials say such public safety measures help deter any bad actors.
Now, for anyone who thinks they're going to come into this community this weekend with bad intentions, we all here stand together and we say not this weekend nor any other week.
Oh, okay. You guys are the good guys, huh? You guys are not human beings, huh? You guys don't make mistakes. You guys don't have any crooks. You guys don't have any bad ones, huh? You guys are all good guys. You guys are gonna abide by the Constitution, huh? How about so many times we've seen so many NYPD violating and actually abusing the Constitution? What do you say to those people who were once one of your people that you're considering, oh, we're the good guys? Really? So you just using this shit in the name of the good guy? Oh, we are the good guys. The public are the bad people, even though they're not even doing shit. Just maybe. In case a bad guy try to do something, maybe, just maybe, something that may happen, that didn't even happen, that we don't even know is going to happen. What the fuck are they? Bro, I cannot believe this. Go ahead. Yeah, okay with getting fucked in the ass, right? Go for it.
Weekends.
The land of the free.
Police officers will be diligent, visible, and some won't be visible. They'll be firm but fair.
Did he said some of them will not be visible? Some of the drones will not even be visible, which means you won't even be able to, you won't even know if you're being recorded or and monitored, just like your cell phone. Just like your cell phone. You won't even know you're being recorded and monitored and spy on by a fellow citizen, huh? It be your own people. It be your own people. You worrying about those thirst outside, but it be your own fucking people. It be your own people. They already told, I mean, what was that president that told you, man? That, you know what I'm saying? This empire, man, is gonna fall from within, man, not from outside. We already seen the signs. This is the government actually that destroying the empire. You feel me? And the people, like, there's only good people that are fighting the fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? That are fighting for the rest of you cowards who are just eating your chips and you guys at the mall. The rest of Americans at the mall, huh?
Fair to make sure everyone has an enjoyable weekend.
Now, critics of the technology.
Some won't be visible. These officers will be diligent, visible, and some won't be visible. They'll be firm but visible, and some won't be visible. Visible, and some won't be visible. They'll visible, and some won't be visible.
Are you serious?
They'll be firm but fair to make sure visible, and some won't be visible. 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 They'll be firm but fair to make sure everyone has an enjoyable weekend.
Now, critics of the technology say such tactics raise privacy concerns and questions of possible police surveillance violations. The drones will be hovering in the skies until Monday morning.
Cook Angus Farms is a family.
Man, I'm telling y'all, bro. Insane. Insane, man. Look at this. Unbelievable, Chad. You see that shit? You know how many? This is how they be killing people overseas. So you know. You have no idea how many drone attacks. Like, let me look it up for y'all, man. Look. Look, all of this. Oh, you guys cannot see. Look. Look. What does it say? Mysterious Yemen drone strike renew question over U.S. campaign. And that was a drone strike. Look. And they do this every day, man. United States, they do this every day. Drone strikes that the U.S. citizens don't know about. In Somalia, in Yemen, in Syria, they be. So, I'm sure U.S. citizens are next, because the drones are now okay for these fucking police departments to use inside of the United States. I don't know. I don't think that's the Constitution's. I don't think the Constitution allows that. But do we follow the Constitution? Do we really follow? Sometimes, when they want to justify, when they want to target you, when they want to justify their agenda, they use that. But when they are in trouble, the Constitution all of a sudden doesn't apply. It's crazy in America, man. And they tell you the biggest lies: the land of the free, the home of the bro. Okay, yeah, stop. bro, just stop, bro. Maybe one day. That's a good idea. That's a good dream. You feel me? But it's crazy, chat. I cannot believe it, bro. They think this is, bro. Y'all cannot let this shit happen, chat. This is military, bro. I mean, the United States is not safe anymore. Y'all already know that. Y'all already know that shit. I mean, you wouldn't know if you live outside of the United States. United States actually is fucking becoming lawless. Nobody fucking follows the law. After 2020, everything fall apart. Trust me, the government just you know what I'm saying? Collects all the power they can. People don't give a fuck anymore. They lost hope. You know what I'm saying? No, this is facts. They might not want to talk about it, but hey, I don't give a fuck. I ain't saving no faces. Nah. If you're silent, one thing y'all don't realize is, even if when you're silent, they don't give a fuck about you anyways. You're gone. Anyways, bro, you might speak the truth. You might speak the fucking truth. You might speak the truth, man. Look at this. But it's okay, huh? In the name of security, huh? They're gonna protect us, the good guy. I mean, from the bad guy, but they are the good guys, huh? And what am I gonna hide? I got nothing to hide, so I don't care. How would you feel if somebody just walks into your house, to your home, without your permission, in and out, anytime, any moment? Matter of fact, 24 hours. I bet you have nothing to hide. You're gonna be like, hell nah. Ain't no way, man. The same logic should apply to your privacy. You fucking moron. Stop fucking just stop just bending over for the government. We the people, bruh. We can't, government ain't shit without the people. But the people don't realize that shit. They just being controlled. They just love being controlled, bro. They're in the matrix, dog. Look at this, dog. They're going to war. see? You see? Tell me what else. Tell me what else of a target that is. What else of a target that is? Do you really think that they're not capable of just killing you just like that? Because they do it. They do it overseas all the time.
New World Order. New World Order.
We in the matrix, my nigga. We in the matrix. We in the matrix, my nigga. My DJ.
Look, those are people. Look, those are people. Those are people, bruh. Those are people. Look, look, those are people. Look, look, those are people. Look, this is more interesting. Look, 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 right here. Right here. You're being followed. You're being followed. You going home? You going home? You thought you was just gonna go home, huh? You got off work. You're going home. Your ass on target. Where is your ass going? You think you just gonna grab like... You think you just gonna grab something before you head home? A drink? A blunt? Your ass gone before you get there. You being monitored. You being monitored. Where you going? Where? Where you going? Where? 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 You think you can escape? You think you can escape? You on target, boy. You on target, boy. The feds following your ass. The feds following your ass. You being followed, chat. You being followed, chat. Look at that. Look, there's the information right here. There's the information right here. It tells you, look, right here. Look. Right here. It tells you. It tells you. It reads out for you. It reads out for stably you, and stably and continuously tracking and positioning and positioning clear IR image IR image right upper right corner. Look, look. You're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere, chat. You ain't going nowhere. You be tracked. You ain't going nowhere. You be tracked. Nope. Chat. You been monitored. Nope. You been monitored. And y'all okay with this? And y'all okay with this? How you guys okay with this, chat? How you guys okay with this, chat? Chat. How y'all okay with this, chat? Man? How y'all okay with this, this man? This is not. I remember some of these drones. You won't be able to see it. You won't be able to see it because it's gonna be flying. Because it's gonna be way flying, way high attitude. But it has the cameras where it can zoom in. Look, we fucked, man. We fucked, man. I don't know about y'all, man. This is concerning. This is concerning. Super fucking concerning, chat. Like, for real, this is super concerning. Watch. Whoa. Whoa. You guys didn't hear that shit? My bad. You guys didn't hear that shit? My bad. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is bruh. Sophisticated, dog. Sophisticated, dog. For real, chat. Like, for real, chat. Like.
This episode is brought to you by Brilliant. We've all seen the film cliches of spy.
Where is? All right. Was there let me see. There's this shit that's blocking my freaking. Well, let's get into this. There's nothing else that I'm going to say about this. You guys already like, y'all okay with this? Go ahead. Give like the only worry that I have is that the only concern that I have is when you give away your freedom, it jeopardizes mine. Now, like, my freedom becomes harder to fight for. But if we together fight for our freedom, is beautiful. But don't expect that from Americans. Like, it's just, I mean, there are a lot of good Americans, but don't expect, like, majority are just like, they're okay giving away. They already gave up. Majority of them gave up. They've been, I mean, I don't blame them, because they've been under attack for long ass time. So of course, how can you not? So let's transition to the next story. You know what I'm saying? Which is, you know what I'm saying? Fine, let's find out.
Politics, it sure seems that way to me, especially when you get gas, when you pay bills, when you buy things at the grocery store, inflation, high interest rates, increasingly draconian rules in our social contract with our government. That is the theme of Carol Roth's new book, You Will Own Nothing, because she says this is intentional because all of this hands power to global elites. She has a lot to say on all of this.
Excuse me, chat. I just want to point out, do you guys remember, we are not just making this up, okay? If you go on, there are like websites, people don't seek out facts anymore. But if you want to seek out where it says you will own nothing and be happy, you know who said that? It's on the WEF website. Okay? Check it out. please, I encourage you, check it out. It's really, really concerning. Really, really concerning.
Joins us to ring in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always great to be with you, Natalie.
So I finished the book last
Brilliant.
week.
Brilliant woman right here. I got so much respect for you guys.
The War on Small
Business.
Actually, I cannot recommend.
Second book.
Oh, okay. First book that I read. Sorry. I guess I have to catch up. Okay. I'm one behind.
Stay tuned. I'm writing a book as well. Like, stay tuned. Like, I'm writing actually 3 books, but I'm working on one right now. I'm working on
science.
One right now.
One of the major cases you make in your book is that if you own nothing, they own you. Can you explain this? Because I think it's something we all should sort of crochet on a pillow.
It kind of makes sense.
And remind ourselves all the time so that we don't eventually live in the Hunger Games.
Sure. So, for people who aren't familiar with my background, I am a recovering investment banker. I've been commentating on markets for a very long time. I've been advocating for wealth creation opportunities for more than a quarter of a century. And so there's one thing I know above all else is that if you want to create wealth, you have to have ownership. Yep. Wealth comes from owning assets in particular that can store value or hopefully appreciate value. That is how you gain wealth.
That's facts. Facts. But I just want to say that, and they don't teach you this in school, by the way. Those of you guys who want to go to college, those of you guys who want to go to school in America, they will not teach you in school. Okay? In college, in school, in America, they teach you to be an employee, not a businessman or a woman. Okay? They would just want you to be an employee and make money for somebody else, not for yourself. Barely survive, by the way. Just to throw that in there.
I tell you might be quote unquote happy if you don't own anything. We can see that throughout history, the people who don't have ownership have been very unfree. They have been very unhappy. In many cases, they have starved to death or lost their lives.
Now, I don't have nothing and I'm not happy. And a lot of, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot. I am not happy. And there's no way. In this show, we talk about how financial insecurities is definitely number one leading cause of depression in America and around the world. Okay? Finances play major role in our lives. If you don't have money, you have nothing in today's world. Basically, they tied money to your fucking worth. I don't make the rules. I just fucking report. Okay? I just report them.
And so being able to have property and not only the wealth creation opportunities that come with it, but the sovereignty. If you own your house, you can do whatever you want to do, within legal limits. Obviously can't infringe on other people's rights, but, within those parameters within your house. If you are renting from a corporate landlord, they get to dictate the terms by which you get to live. And the same goes on and on. If you don't have access to a car, you don't have that level of freedom. You are dependent on other people for your freedoms. And so it really, is a mechanism to have ownership of you if you don't have the freedom and that that personal sovereignty.
And you know who know this pretty well? Obviously the wealth inequality in America is clear, but if it's not clear for you, actually ask black people about not owning anything. But when it comes to ownership, ask how did that affect them. Black people in America, they're living under hell, dog. They're living in hell. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's the best way to describe black people in America. And when it comes to ownership, they own nothing. Zero. And a lot of other races they own zero. It's only a couple of races that own something in America. So ownership, it's a big deal. If you own nothing, there's no way you're gonna be happy. They control you. They dictate what you're gonna eat today when they control you. But when you control yourself, when you got something for yourself, you dictate. You decide how much you can eat today. But when they control you, they decide what are you gonna eat today, where you gonna sleep, how much you can eat, what access you have. Basically, they can tell you, stay inside, bitch. Stay inside, bitch.
Now, you have a whole chapter against CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. You really emphasize owning real things.
2030.
It's because those have stood the test of time. Things that you can trade for real things. And so this idea of central bank digital currency, what are some of the reasons you don't like it? And then you say we don't need it.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously having your wealth in a form factor that you can control, I think is very important for people to be thinking about, as we have seen the incredible manipulations that have gone on with currency, with the economy, and with sort of everything else in our lives. For people who aren't familiar with a central bank digital currency, that is a currency in a digital format that is issued by a central bank and or its corresponding government. And the unique factor of it is that it is fully centralized and completely transparent to them. And because it's digital, it has features like programmability and the ability to expire should the people who are putting it out into the world decide they want to do that. So it's not that the central banks don't have any control over our money. It's not that governments don't have any control over our money, because unfortunately they do. And the more that you leave it, in that fiat currency that they control, the more subject you are to that level of control. But the concept of a central bank digital currency, that they can see every single transaction, down to the dollar level, that digital dollar level, is absolutely frightening. Because whether it's under the guise of, hey, we need to control inflation, so instead of enacting monetary policy to change interest rates and the like, we're just going to shut off access to money. That
just like they did in Canada. You know what the Canada did to the truckers? Outrageous.
To be more green, and you've had too many burgers this month, so I'm sorry, Carol, you can't have that burger that you're trying to buy at McDonald's or whatever it is. And then even worse, as we've seen, the policing of speech on social platforms and the deplatforming of people across the world. Maybe we're having this conversation, Natalie, they don't like what we're talking about. So, on a respective basis, the central banks and governments behind those digital currencies say, sorry guys, you can't have access
Whoever
to
fucking
that.
thought that can happen in America? Like, they can just say, hey, we don't like what you're saying, therefore we're gonna either fine you or you won't be able to use your bank, your money, the money that you earned. You won't be able to use it because you're not a good boy, you're the bad guy. What the fuck? In America? Yep, in America. But like that's exactly what's happening. Like, that's exactly what's happening behind the closed doors. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
And so that really does give up your freedom if you are not able to transact, if you're not able to have a
And I just want to say, maybe you don't remember, PayPal said one time that, if you say something about something that is misinformation, they will take $1,200 out of your account. Look it up. You don't have to trust me go ahead and trust Google. Look it up. How dare you to fucking say that, oh, because you can, like, who decides what's misinformation, what's not? Who? The good guys? The good guys are the ones that decide, huh? Okay.
Value and your ability to access what you have earned. This is money that you have gone out, put out your blood, sweat, and tears, or taken on a risk to earn. And they are now going to come into the middle of that and say, no, we're going to control that next level of how you exchange.
Like this person, this video right here, not a lot of people gonna see it. And the reason is they don't want a lot of people to know, like a lot of people to find out the facts, the truth, what really matters. They want everybody to just be connected to the matrix. You know what I'm saying?
We in the matrix, my nigga, we in the matrix. We in the matrix, my nigga, in the matrix.
How you gain wealth. I mean, that would be the absolute, the ultimate in financial tyranny and the absolute end of freedom. And so it's not one of those things that's hypothetical. I mean, that's what people need to understand.
No, we saw it in Canada during the trucker convoy. Yeah, we don't like what you're doing, so we're taking your bank accounts.
And more.
Thank you.
More than that, just in terms of the CBDC itself, they've run pilot programs. The G7 put out their principles for retail facing CBDCs. These aren't actions that you take on something that isn't being seriously considered, which is why we need to raise that red flag now and make sure that people stand up and do everything they can to prevent it if it's put in place, to not use it and not to be lured into the system, because they're going to put out that carrot to try to get people.
Thank you. For real, man. Thank you.
Sick of hiring setters that...
For real, man. We'll get into Bill Gates as well. For real.
Now, one of the things that you say is a big problem with the U.S. government is their inability to be a responsible host, I guess, of global currency, and that economists warned about this with what's called the Triffin dilemma. That's fascinating because maybe it shows how hard it would have been for any country. We don't have to feel so bad because this dilemma exists, right? It was always going to exist. France might have done the same thing. So can you explain how hard it is for the United States to both be looking out for the world and ourselves, how it's almost impossible, and where it's leading us?
Well, so there are a couple things that are true. One is that holding the global reserve currency is not something that has happened on a forever basis. The United States has been in that position for about 80 years, but before the United States, it was the British, and before the British, it was the Dutch. So this is something that changes. You have that as your country's currency, but everybody else is using it. So you're trying to go back in time. So they haven't done a good job in maintaining that stability domestically. Of central bank interference in the markets, 9 years of zero interest rate policy, and the Delta, making up very close to zero interest rate policy. They get enough.
Right. I mean, your entire bit about Social Security as a Ponzi scheme is interesting because that's how it's going to affect us.
Ask the young generations about 401k.
I don't know if we're ever going to see that again. I think it's really fascinating your chapter about student loans. You say that this is a ploy to keep young.
And college is a scam, for real.
And
college
be stuck
is
with
a
a
scam,
lifetime
for
of debt.
real.
Can you speak to this and explain how this is a common lie that we all accept that all education is good and worth it, and the more the better, and how this keeps young people from building wealth in a way that no previous generation has had?
Yeah, so the way that we look at education is very strange. So in many respects, education is priceless, and you should be a lifelong learner.
Every day I educate myself more, but college is not the only way.
Depending on what you pay for it. In the United States in particular, what college has become is not necessarily about education, it's become about accreditation. And the reason people are going is not to be well-rounded in the classics and to be a person of the world. They are going because they think it's going to translate into more money and a more successful career for them. So that is an investment. And if you're going to make an investment, people should know that investments are not valuable at any price. If you overpay for the investment, you're never going to get a return on it. You may get a negative return.
Fact. She's
you
fucking
could end up
brilliant.
going bankrupt.
She's so smart. We needed people like her.
With the education system. And what we've had happen in the United States is absolutely disgusting. We have had the U.S. government nationalize a large part of the student lending business, and they have become the largest predatory lender in the country. They are transferring wealth from teenagers in many cases and very young people to colleges and their administrators. And they're doing this because there is no underwriting process. There is no differentiation based on what kind of education you're getting. And on the back end, because there's no underwriting, there is no bankruptcy process. So basically young people who don't have the tools, which again is shameful since we have government run education, but they don't have the tools today to evaluate a return on investment in terms of what they're making with the education, are saddled with 5, in some cases 6-figure loans that are never going to pay off for many of them for the kinds of degrees.
How is that possible? The only way that would be possible is it's clear. Your government doesn't give a fuck about you. They don't really give a fuck about you. They look at you as a commodity. Like they look at you as a fucking product. As long as they can make money from you, that's what matters. That's how they look at you. They don't look at you as an abiding citizen. They don't look at you like a citizen that's really like working hard. They don't. They don't give a fuck about you. It's clear. Because how else can you make sense to unfucking believable?
There are certainly exceptions to the rule. Maybe if you go into high finance or engineering or whatnot, certain high earning careers, and also depending on where you go. If you're going to an Ivy League school versus a state school, or if you're going to
ask me, I got a college degree. You're not gonna find the job that bro. I have learned more on YouTube. I learned more from YouTube than fucking college. That's a fact.
Times wages in terms of their cost to their outcome. So it's not like we can make the argument that, the increased cost of college, that's returning more money in terms of the GDP, or it's boosting wages. It's not. It's far outpacing that, far outpacing inflation. It's just been a wholesale wealth transfer. And the idea that you
transfer to the fucking for the rich
cost $320,000 and you're going to get a $60,000 job at the end of that. That math doesn't make sense in any universe. So we have a huge problem that needs to be undone and readdressed, because when you then have that coming out into the workforce, your balance sheet is wrecked. How are you going to be able to buy a house and start a life?
We're not. That's why we stuck. That's why we're having this conversation. We have to overcome this, guys.
The purpose of you going to college to begin with.
We have to overcome.
Right. Yeah, you had this shocking statistic about how college has become so much more expensive, but they're not investing in professors. No. They're investing in administrators that are doing things like diversity programs. So that's what kids are paying more for, not necessarily better education. There are so many other great chapters in Carol's book. For instance, you take the piss out of ESG.
Please read it. Educate yourself. Read a book, nigga. Read a book once in your life before you die. Read a book. Okay? Educate yourself. Your mind, your brain will thank you, okay? For real, because it's tragic, man.
The real owners.
Remember.
The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice.
Nope.
You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Nope.
That's against their interest.
Nope. New World Order.
They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago.
No.
They don't want that.
No.
You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork.
Okie dokie.
And just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears when you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back, so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.